Hello and welcome to our Sky IndyCar Arrow McLaren Debrief, and we're fresh off the back of a Midwest swing, and I'm delighted to be joined by Alexander Rossi. We've not spoken to you, Alex, for a while. First and foremost, how are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me. I guess I didn't deserve to be on the podcast. I don't know what got me this time, but here we are. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, you pulled the short straw. Felix has been holding the fort in your absence. Now, a lot has happened since we last spoke. We won't go through everything. We won't test your memory. So let's look back at this Midwest swing and Road America, a place that you love and historically you go well at. But it was a different feel to it this year with the resurfacing.
Yeah, it was. We used one of our test days, so you only get really one test day in season, and we used it at Road America because of the new surface. We came out of the box pretty strong in a good spot, and we're quick all weekend. But it's not just about being quick. You got to stay on top of the evolution as the track kind of evolves, and everyone else is obviously improving with each session. So we started off in a really good spot. We ended in a good spot. We just didn't really have a whole lot of pace on Sunday, which has actually kind of unfortunately been the trend the past two events. The car's been good. The execution from the team and the strategy standpoint has been good. We've just been missing some race pace for some reason. So we're looking into it, but be that as it may, to have our bad days be 10th, it's not the end of the world.
In a field that deep as well, Scott McLaughlin always reminds us as how challenging IndyCar is whenever he's on. But it is a deep field. So you're absolutely right. To sort of be disappointed with a 10th is good. It puts you 8th in points at the moment. But back to Road America, qualifying, which has been, I wouldn't say your Achilles heel because it's work in progress, but your first Fast Six must have been pleased with that.
Yes and no. It was a really messy session from us, and we kind of got behind the ball a little bit and had to use an extra set of tires because of some of the way the red flags fell, and we didn't get a lap in before the red flags, which was due to a mistake that I made. So we took the conservative route, and we didn't want to try and be clever and save a set for the Fast Six and potentially miss out on the Fast Six. So when we got in, we were kind of the only car that didn't have new tires. So that was disappointing because honestly, every practice up until that point we led, and I really thought we had a shot for pole. But unfortunately, in that session, there was too many things that went against us, and we just didn't have the kind of ammunition there in the Fast Six. But yes, nonetheless, it was still a good thing to kind of finally break through and achieve that. And it gave us some framework for the rest of the year for sure.
And then were you caught up in the race with the sort of fuel saving at the end on that final stop? There's loads of cars just dropped back at the end. Were you one of those cars that was compromised on the final stint?
No, not from a fuel saving standpoint. We chose a kind of a downforce level that probably was a little too conservative for Road America, and being as though it's a track with a lot of long straights. We were a little bit exposed in those sections of the track, and so I was having to use a lot of overtake throughout the race just to kind of maintain position. And then once we got to the end, I didn't really have enough to fight anyone with. So we weren't in a fuel situation like others, but certainly, we were, like I said, we didn't really have the pace to be on the attack, and we were kind of on the defensive for the whole day.
And no wheel banging with Felix Rosenqvist in the last two events either, which must have pleased you.
We had a good fight in Road America actually, which was pretty funny. It's crazy. Like every single race this year, it seems that we've started next to each other and we're racing each other at some point.
I think the media tried to make something out of a molehill after Detroit, but it looked.
They sure did. They love doing that. You media.
When you were all packed into your aeroplane and heading off to Road America for the test, I knew that everyone was still friends. Yes. Are you flying everyone to all the races or not?
No. That just worked out because because Pato doesn't really live in Indy, and we were all going for the test, and it was a short trip, and so everyone was on the same schedule.
Felix was really impressed with your flying. He had
That's
a
good.
lot to say about
Yeah, yeah.
how sort of professional you sounded, and all. He said he had no idea what you were talking about or who you were talking to, but it sounded that he was confident in your
Well, that's good.
abilities.
That's good. That's always nice to hear. I commend those guys for getting into a plane with a non-professional pilot because it's a scary thing. So you got to take it. You got to take it seriously.
Yeah, no, and you do just that. So that's cool. Right, now looking at Mid Ohio, another place that you go well at. And it's nice to have two pretty cool old school road courses running back to back, right?
Yeah, it is. I think that Road America is certainly more enjoyable than Mid Ohio, but Mid Ohio certainly has its charm to it, and it's another one of those high commitment, high speed tracks that's it rewards bravery, and like you said, it is a classic kind of American track. The fan turnout from a camping standpoint is always awesome to see. It's on July 4th weekend. So there's a lot of like really good atmosphere that exists at the track, but it's one that needs a resurface actually, and so they resurfaced turn one, and assuming that it held up to their kind of standards, Mid Ohio next year is going to be completely new pavement, which will move it to kind of that next category of fantastic racetracks.
And it was a better weekend than Mid Ohio 2022, it's fair to say as well.
What's funny is, yes, but like when I qualified next to Roma, I was like, life comes at you fast, man. It was very strange to have that happen. We actually raced. We were kind of together for the whole first stint, and it was very enjoyable. Everyone left each other lots of space, and it was a good time. Like I actually got to the point where I was rolling the outside of turn two on him, and I was just waiting for it. I was just waiting to get shipped off, and he left me tons of space, and we had a great battle, and it was a good time.
Well, he's almost on best behaviour now because it has not been
Yeah, for sure.
the best few races for him. So it's good to see that play out in the real. Now, qualifying was a bit frustrating, wasn't it, out in the group stages? And it was
Yeah.
so close because Maluka's just pipped you by the most slender of margins.
Yeah, I mean, we were lost kind of all weekend, which is disappointing to say, but there was never really a session that we felt strong. We were kind of in the ninth to 13th, 14th range through all the practice, and we knew it was going to be tough to get into the Fast 12. And honestly, in that position, you almost kind of want to be 13th if you know you're going to transfer and then just be 12th, because you get that extra set of red tires, right? And if the red tire ends up being the preferred tire, which in this case it wasn't, but if it does, that's actually a huge advantage that you have. We've seen it in the past at Barber, at St. Pete. There's several races where fast cars, qualify 13th, but they've got that extra set, and it ends up being a really good Sunday for them. So it's almost like that's the best position you can be in if you're not as competitive as you hope to be.
It was close to being a red race. There were a few
Yeah.
teams that were unsure, and certainly looking at the Fast Six, some of the choices there, Pelot, it was close.
Yeah, I mean, it's always whenever you see guys in the Fast Six go for new primaries over kind of one run alternate tires, you know that it's probably going to be a primary black sidewall race,
Right.
just because the deg will be too high on the reds. That being said, this was really the first time that Mid Ohio hasn't been an alternate red tire race. So there was always a little bit of that confusion, like was qualifying an outlier? Is everything going to return to normal on Sunday? In theory, the tires were the same as last year. I don't know if that's true or not, but yeah. So just like anything with IndyCar racing, like it's always a mystery, and that's why, for the most part, the races are so entertaining. Now, having said that, having a guy win the last three isn't awesome for all of us, but here we are.
I mean, that's so rare. And I'm not going to, go into depth with you on Alex Palou, but from your perspective, the job that they're doing and, Chip Ganassi as well, Scott Dixon, historically very good at Mid Ohio. And he just looks so comfortable, like he's in another race.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to Joseph after the race about it actually, and it's just when when you're in that kind of sweet spot, you can almost do no wrong. Like it doesn't come easy, but the results just start flowing in. So they're doing a fantastic job. Obviously, I think the big differentiator really is races where there's significant tire deg. The 10 car specifically is able to manage that better than anyone else at this point. So that's kind of what we saw at the Indy GP. That's what we saw at Detroit. And quite honestly, that's what we saw in Mid Ohio. So he's just really been able to manage the tire life, I think, better than others. And that's given him the results that he's had.
Yeah, on the Reds, he got stuck behind Peterson for absolutely, or Peterson for absolutely ages. And then he just pulled away again off the back of it in the dirty air. And, yeah. Did you get stuck behind Peterson or not?
I did. I think everyone got stuck behind old Ben there.
He didn't make any friends, and Scotty Mack was really cheesed off at the end of the race as well.
He didn't make friends. It's not his fault because by the rules he's allowed to do it. It's really just silly that we're kind of the only racing series on Earth that doesn't have blue flags.
Yeah.
So like we do, but you have to be allowed down to the entire field, which doesn't really make a lot of sense. So he was doing everything in his right, I guess. But yeah, still incredibly frustrating to deal with in the moment.
Yeah. Now, it's been a super busy couple of months. If you look at April, the whole month of May, June, July is 12 rounds and all that Indy 500 testing as well. Does it feel, do you feel that fatigue, or are you just working through each weekend, or are you at a stage now where you think, let's have a little bit of a control alt delete?
No, I mean, honestly, it hasn't been too bad yet because, it's an event, then a week off, and then an event and a week off. It's going to get, starting next week with Toronto and Iowa being a doubleheader, kind of back-to-back weekends. That's a pretty challenging run, mostly because those races are the hottest races of the year. Really Nashville as well. So those three events, from a physicality standpoint, just with the heat being mid-July, early August, certainly wears on you. But that's what you train the whole off season for. It's really this block of kind of 3-4 events where you do kind of all of your programming of your training is around this. So it's what we've been waiting for. It's what you prepare for. But yes, certainly coming up now, this stretch is not only critical from a championship determining point standpoint, but it's also the hardest one that we're going to have to do physically, and obviously that takes a mental toll as well.
So what do you do to relax in between if you've got a week off? So you're at home today, for example, and you've got the delight of talking to me, but when you're not talking to me, what are you going to do for the rest of today?
The rest I went to the gym this morning. I'm gonna go ride my bike. It's beautiful. This afternoon I have to go take my plane to get an oil change tomorrow, which is weird. And then I'm going to Charlotte on Friday to get in the sim. So your time gets filled, but honestly it's with stuff that you mostly enjoy doing, even talking to you, man. So it's all good. No complaints here. And going to Canada is always awesome. It's an amazing city. The whole event is great. It's on the water there, so we love going to Toronto. So looking forward to that one.
A couple of podiums for you at Toronto as well. So
yeah, it's been a good track for us. It's a weird one. It's very bumpy. There's a lot of different surfaces, kind of even in the middle of the corner. So you'll have like one surface on the entry, and then it's a completely different surface in the middle, and then a different surface again on the exit. So it's a challenging one. But like I said, it's it's an awesome event. And despite the track condition, it's one we love going to.
And just before you go, Alexander, out of all of the races that are coming up, which ones do you target, or do you just go race by race now? From your personal perspective, from a team perspective, what are the ones that you're looking at and going, right, that's our opportunity to convert there?
For us, I think it's, well, I haven't driven an Arrow McLaren car at Iowa, but knowing their history there and their results there, I would say our cars plus the Penske cars should be the cars to beat at Iowa. That's a doubleheader weekend, so it's, from a point standpoint, critical to be strong there. Indy GP was our best result of the year, and we're going back there again in August. So I would say those three events are really the ones where we know we have to execute on, because those are our best shots of winning. Obviously, the other ones are equally as important, but yes, from a pure pace and performance standpoint, I would say the two at Iowa and then returning to the Indy GP.
Brilliant. Well, listen, Alexander, you've been a fabulous guest. As always, enjoy your bike ride, be safe. And everyone at home, you can watch Alexander and his teammates at Toronto. That's coming up for you live on Sky Sports, all the sessions and the race on the 16th of July.